change from glory to glory as we look into your face, and the world no longer holds us as we sing Amazing Grace. Welcome today to Proverbs for Successful Living with Ty and Betsy Tice. We are reading this morning from Proverbs 19, verses 10 through 18. We are calling the podcast Gaining the Pleasure of God. Betsy?
Delight is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes.
The word delight means to gain great pleasure, satisfaction, and happiness. Additionally, another meaning of the Hebrew word for delight is to be soft and tender. I think lovers of God are those who are soft and tender towards Him, always teachable, always pliable in His hands. Delight is obviously not seemly for fools, for they don't understand the pleasure of God, much less a servant to rule over princes. How possibly can that be? That a servant would rule over a child of God. That's basically what this is saying. It's saying who your leaders are in the physical realm. If you're a child of God, they rule over you, but they don't rule over you with the same justice and the same pleasure and the same delight that you receive from the Lord.
The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression.
I have found many times that when I hold my tongue and just wait upon the Lord, that anger is deferred no matter how wrong somebody has done me. And there's been many times, my friends, where I've been done wrong. When I want to reciprocate, that's man's way. That's Satan's way. Let's get revenge. No, hold, pass over it. And when you do, it is to your glory that you pass over a transgression. Wow, I would rather please God than more.
The king's wrath is as the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as dew upon the grass.
Think about that. King's wrath? you, you, you really don't want to be the object of somebody that's mad. But if you receive that same man's favor, the scripture says it's as a dew upon the grass. Why is that so important? Because a dew refreshes the grass below it. It doesn't drown it, it doesn't hurt the roots, it just gives it more life and gives it the beauty of a fresh lawn the grass is pure.
A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping.
Well, loved ones, I've met many a man who, when you talk about their son, it's like, oh yeah, and they quickly change the subject. And it means they're not happy with the road that their son has taken. And as far as a contentious wife, oh Lord, help you. But can you make peace with them both? Sure you can.
House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord.
So those things that we receive in an inheritance, they're wonderful. They're absolutely great. But if you marry the woman that God has ordained for you, oh, you are blessed beyond measure. Why? Because she is a gift from the Lord to you. I have my gift of 51 years. Is that correct, baby?
I think so.
51 years. And I'll tell you, it's been a blessing the whole time. Doesn't mean, loved ones, that we don't have problems from time to time. Sure, we do. But we love each other enough to see that the problem is that it's a problem, but it doesn't come between her and me. And we have learned from the very beginning of the marriage, if we're mad about something, we do not let the sun go down upon being mad about something. Or as the scripture says, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. We clear it up so that we can walk in favor. I remember very young in our marriage where we would stay up half the night to settle something, with her usually crying and me trying to say, stop crying. But by the end of it, there was peace. And that peace you can't exchange for anything else. Why? Because it's a peace that comes from God.
Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how those that are slothful never really change that much. I remember in our second church that we pastored, our church office was right on the highway. And so we'd get a lot of transients go through. And they would come to the door and realize that it's the office of a church, and they'd knock on the door and ask for a handout. And I would say, fine, uh, here's a rake. How about raking the side garden? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I said, then you're not hungry enough yet, are you? And I would let them continue on their way. Betsy?
He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again.
I have seen this so many times. I give, I give, I give, not not to the slothful, not to the lazy, but to the poor. I have no problem giving to the poor. But I also know that everything I give, I've watched time and time again how God has returned it to me, sometimes tenfold, sometimes a hundredfold. And that doesn't mean that He has stopped giving. It is a continue action. So if it was only tenfold, I might still have 90-fold coming. That's just the way God operates. He knows when you're in need of something. He doesn't give it to you beforehand, because then you'd think it was you that was doing it. He waits until you need it. And we've seen him bail us out so many times. I won't even go into that. That would take a whole day to explain.
Chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying.
Well, loved ones, so many times when I was growing up and young, I would hear a mama say, I'm going to take you out behind the barn or behind the house and whoop you. And that's chastening your son. And don't give up because he's whining and crying. Why? Because you have set forth a boundary for him for life. It is a blessing to be chastened by your parents and to be chastened by the Lord. Now, I'm not talking about, some of you are going there right now. Oh, you believe in abusing a child? Absolutely not. Do I believe in correcting a child? Yes. Do I believe spanking their bottom when they're out of line? Yes. That, my friend, is not abuse. That's the devil telling you that's abuse. That's treating a child so that he has boundaries in his life so he will not go astray? How many of those so called non abuse parents that, well, I'm not going to touch my child because it might abuse him, and their child's in prison now? Good show, mommy and daddy. You didn't do what the Lord told you to do. So, with that, I'm going to close this one. Gaining the pleasure of God rather than the pleasure of man.